Folks, I welcome you back to Global Education Zone. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the development of the truncated prism. So in the previous episode, the episode before this episode, I talked about developments. Now in this episode, the 21st episode of this course, I'm going to be talking about development of the truncated prism. And first of all, let's draw the plan and the front elevation of this prism. So let me have it here. The first thing I'll be drawing is the plan. So this truncated prism, it has a square as the base, so I'll draw the base as a square right here. So all I need is my horizontal line. Then I'll draw, or rather a rectangle. Let's use a rectangle. It has a rectangle as the base, so let's draw that. Graph number 1. So let's say let's have a 4 by let's have a 3 by 2 rectangle. So all I need to do now is I'll just project perpendicular lines. Those will be the 90-degree lines that will represent the other lengths. So I will project this thing upwards because it will also be needed when I'm drawing my front elevation. And next I will draw the other line too, projecting it upwards too. Now specifically, this can be known as a cuboid, but we'll call it a prism because it's a prism that has a rectangular base. So but technically it's also known as a cuboid. So let me draw the 2 centimeter height of the, or breadth, let's call it breadth of the cuboid. And let's have this rather. So this is where the plan. Then let me leave a space and draw the lowest line of the front elevation. So this will be the lowest line of the front elevation. Then let's have the front elevation. Let it be long, yes. So I have enough space for that. Now the next thing now is to thicken the lines and include the truncation. Now the truncation is the line through which it was cut. So let it be at this angle. Now over the course of this course, I've been talking about truncations, and if you've been watching this course, you would have noticed that my truncations have been from left to right in an up-down manner. So I want to tell you that you can also make it in another way. You can make it from right to left in an up-down manner. You can make it to left to right in a down-up. Anyhow you want to do it. But this is just the method that is convenient for me. That's why I'm doing this. So it doesn't matter any direction you see your truncation. You can have your truncation like this. You can have it like this. So it depends on how it comes. Now the next thing to do is, in this development, we want to develop the sides. Now this development, it involves you being able to imagine how each of the sides will look. So but first of all, let's project the lower end of the truncation. That is the lower side of the truncation. So this is it here. This is the lower side. So I'm projecting it to the right. It will be needed in my development. Now the next thing is, now let's number the base so that it will be used for reference. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's draw the first part, but let me give some space. So this is where my development will start. I will develop it at just beside the main drawing. Let me draw the line. So this is a line that signifies the start of my development. First of all, let me start from this side 1 to 2. Now this side 1 to 2, you can see that it has it starts from. So because of the fact that my drawing, it might not contain. Let me reduce my plan though. So instead, let me have my number 3 and 4 to be here. So instead of this being my 3 and 4. So let me just have it so that it can be differentiated. So this is how it looks. This is not a hatching line, but I'm just doing this to differentiate the drawing. This is the real drawing. So this is not allowed in technical drawing though, but well, I need to do that now. Now let's draw the number 1. Let's start from number 1. So from 1 to 2, I'll measure the length. That would be the base of this part of the projection. number 1 to 2. Then I will just at this number 1, your height goes upwards. So at this number 1, you have a height from of here. Then but at number 2, your height stops here. So at this number 2, your height will stop here too. So I'll take a vertical line upwards, and then my height will stop here. So this is how it will look. This part from 1 to 2, it will look like this. To basically look like this. This is the first part. But if we are going from okay, this was from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3. So we just measure the length from 2 to 3. So open it, measure it. So then now at 2, you have the height of here. So at 2 over here. Then at 3 too, you have the height of here. So let me draw a vertical line. At 3, you have the height of here. So at 3, your height also stops here. So I will now draw it. This is the section of 2 to 3. Then we also have the section of 3 to 4. 3 to 4. I might actually have to reduce the measurement a bit so that the space will contain. So let's assume that this 3 to 4, I've reduced it so that this space will contain. So 3 to 4. So from 3, at this 3 we have the height here. So this is it here. But at this 4, our height is actually at the topmost. So let's draw the vertical line at number 4. This is the vertical line at number 4. I'll take it totally up. So and then this is where it will be. So I'll connect those two points on the top. Then I'll do the normal vertical line and then the base. So these are the faces of this figure. Then lastly we have the 4 back to 1. So for you to know that it's a closed figure, your last number will be equal to your first number. So we'll start at number 1, so we'll end at number 1 too. So number 1. So for this number 1, we have at number 1 it is 4, and at number 4 it is 4. So they are both at the top, the apex. So I'll just, no need of stress myself, I'll just take it to the top. This number 1. And then I'll draw the shape. Yeah. So this drawing is a simple demonstration of a concept that is actually taken, extrapolated, and is converted into a lot of ideas in technical drawing. This can be tweaked in many different ways, but this is basically the fundamental for you to understand in development. So I hope you understand this video. So, but before we go, there's another aspect you need to know. This base also needs to be shown. So I'll show the base now. So let me just draw the base. The base is a rectangle, so I can just show it on. I can pick any ends. I can pick this first end, and draw the base. So let me pick the first end. So I'll just copy the dimensions on the base. Cut here. Now cut above here. Below. So join this line, and this is the base below. Then we also have the top. I can also draw the top. This time around, let me draw it at this slanted side, so that you can be able to understand that there are different ways of doing this. So I'll just measure it here. Though this slanted side is not going to be equal to the length. The reason for doing this is because at this slanted side, it's actually the shape of the truncated part. So that's why I'm doing this at the slanted side. So it has been truncated, and that slanted side is the side that borders the base. But then the next thing we need to do is just take your vertical distances on the base. So always remember that you always take vertical distance from the base, and you take horizontal distance from the plan. That's just how it is, even in auxiliary projections. We'll talk about that in a subsequent video, but this is as far as we can go. Thanks for watching, and this is the development. This is how to draw the development of a truncated prism.